making $492.33 trading Roku. What's going on, guys? Welcome on into the video. This is a long-awaited Roku video that I will be honest, should have been not a lot, but should have been more money. I am just deciding to cut it off today for the reason that I will now get into, or that I will be about to get into shortly. I did not know how much it totally made, but as I now do this recap video, and then I look back at yesterday's 2 trades, and I go, oh, okay, like, we're doing we're on the right path. I just completely, I'm not keeping track of the numbers. You know what I mean? Like, I really haven't been. So when it kind of panned out this way, I was like, oh, cool. So, okay. So today I lock in on this Roku, $73.34 and $28.95. The $28.95 came on a $10,000 account. The $73 on a $25,000 account. The $10,000 account is funded. The $25,000 account is not funded, but we are making progress to get it funded. We are up a couple $100 on it already. So the reason why we start there at 102 is because we have to start there in order to account for the total amounts that we're going to be talking about. For what reason we're getting, weirded out here by TradeZone. They're being a little wonky for me today. Okay, so let me go into the date range. It was September. I forget the exact day that I got in this trade, but it's been over a month now. So, okay. Let's see. So yes, so if you go down the list, I'll pop off the screen so you can see it. We have eBay. After eBay came Roku. I was just looking at eBay today and I was like, oh wow. But then I remember, Roku was shortly after eBay, which is crazy because that seems like so long ago, and it was over a month ago. So we had this win back on the 11th of September that sold on, or that got closed out on the 20th, and I'll explain that in a second. So we had add 111.63 and then add 278.41 on those 2 trades. Now, the reason why we have to add those 2 is because the broker that I was using, or the prop firm that I was using, had a broker glitch over the weekend. So they randomly closed me out of the trade, closed me out of my Roku trade on a Saturday morning because I was holding it over the weekend. I was like, what the fuck is this? And so essentially what they did was they said, yeah, we had a glitch and, whatever, we're not going to penalize you for it because the glitch essentially meant my account hit drawdown. Like, it glitched out on the price that Roku was at on like a Saturday morning. So then it says, oh, it's in drawdown. You hit the drawdown. And I'm like, no, I didn't. So they have to manually review it. They reinstate the account, and then I have to then re-enter the position, which is dumb as fuck. Sometimes, or I've gotten in the past, like they give you a few dollars. They increase your balance by a few dollars just for the inconvenience. But they only do that on non-funded accounts. So where this gets kind of weird, and this is, I'll tell you, this is through Arctic Funding, and they were using, or I'm using, Blueberry Markets. DX Trade is the platform through Blueberry Markets on Arctic Funding's prop firm. So they do a decent job of communication, getting back and forth. But the problem is, in this case, it didn't really matter because Roku didn't move very much from when I re-entered on Monday. But what if it did? What if Roku moved a lot in the upward direction come Monday and they didn't reinstate my account till Monday afternoon, and now here I am sitting like, yo, guys, I should have all these gains that I now do not have because you got me out of Roku, or we have to deal with Roku, and they're resetting my balance to what it was as of Friday afternoon at the market close when Roku was at, let's say, $72. Now it's at $79, and I don't get any of that gain. So what the fuck is that? So that could be a problem. It wasn't. Okay, but you see, that's how my brain thinks. Now, maybe they would have compensated me for it. I don't know. I can't tell you what they would have done. But I'm just kind of thinking, and I was going back and forth, and I was like, guys, this is kind of sketchy, right? All that aside, we have finally accounted for it. I didn't, this number, that went into last month's P&L, or part of that, minus $102. It's just that I finally closed the entire position. It's all done, and I was like, okay, it's like now it's time to make the video. I didn't make the video. I don't make the video when I take partial profits, is what I'm saying. Okay. I have to go back and log this and do all my journaling normal stuff as usual, but I'll do that after this. I don't want to waste your time. Here's the chart. My dumb ass, not my dumb ass, no, my ass, kind of missed out. So it hit my target of $80 today. Okay. The plan was to take 50%, 75%, somewhere in that ballpark off at around 80 or at the $80 area. Okay. We get to 80, I believe the high of the day was like 80, give or take. So it went 80 cents above my take profit. So you'd think, oh, great, you must have locked gains. Well, I didn't. I did not. I ended up selling out of the position now, down here where it's at now, because of what we are seeing right now and what's coming up and what's, the timing of all this stuff. And I also I'm just tired of this shit. Like I'm ready to just be out of this thing. Okay, at this point, which you can say good trading, bad trading. I don't know. This is just what I decided to do. And what's important is that I am tracking my data. And part of that is subjective, right? Because I can make calls like this at times. Part of trading is that. But I try to be consistent and without any outside influence. I'm not looking at like, oh, what's somebody saying about Roku? Is it going to go higher? Like I used to. Without any outside influence, the consistency of my brain is actually pretty good. And so as I journal out over time, I'm tracking obviously my strategy, in which I do stick to, and in this case should have hit the target, and it would have been simpler, but also the subjective situations like this also play into it, and that goes into my data. And so a combination of like the rigid rules and then the subjective nature goes into the data. So I'm tracking that, and when I'm noticing certain things are not helping me substantially and it's happening multiple times, that's when I make adjustments. So just if that makes any sense for those people who are going to be, not even for those people, for myself in the future, and also for the thought of like, well, what are you doing here? So when I say I didn't get out, here's kind of why. So this morning, I forget, I was writing an email. That's exactly what I was doing. I was literally writing an email, and I was like, oh, the market opened, and I pop back to the computer. It's 9:34 a.m. Eastern time, okay? And I check into Roku, and Roku is like right in here, somewhere in here on this candle. And I'm like, fuck, like it went well above 80. I didn't take any profits off. And now, based off that upper wick, I'm like, I kind of have, the writing was on the wall. The writing was on the wall. I'm like, I kind of know what's going to happen here. Based on how the market's been choppy, bouncing, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, we're probably going to be getting done dirty here. And that's what happened. We kind of just had that upper wick. It broke above 80 because 80's been a spot. Like, it can't break 80. It's been the thing. It broke 80, and then it was like, sorry, we're headed back down. And then, boom. Now, the thing is, why I got out was go to the daily time frame. Is that a great looking chart? I mean, grand scheme, it's still trending up, okay? This upper wick, huge red day to the downside after the upper wick, 5% range on the day. Given the market's also up today, doesn't make me super excited about that. I'll just, that's something to note as well. I go, you know what? Netflix has earnings, somewhat of a, similar sector, right? I guess. Netflix has earnings today after close. And now we're like less than 2 weeks away from earnings, roughly. It's like, chances of this candle, reversing right back, it could. And I'll look back on it and go, yeah, maybe it will. I don't know. I am just at the point of I'm ready to cleanse it. I think the chances of this now, as we had a false break or like that breakout and then it kind of came right back down with a pretty big candle, the chances of this maybe unwinding a bit more, I think, are quite high going into earnings at this point, given that it couldn't get the push. So I would rather just take the money off the table and move on to the next one. Looking back, I should have taken a lot more of the trade off at $80, or half of what I had at least off. And then if I wanted to sell the rest of it now, I could have done so, but I would have made maybe $600 in the trade, something like that. I don't know. So something to just, that's something to think about. It's on me to kind of make that, call. And also it's on me to, to do what I think is best at the time. And that's the plan. That's what I decided to do. So trade really was nice off the breakout here, out of this little wedge, breaking out, and then had a nice pop, just, taking forever. So Roku moves a lot. Is just, again, we're not in a super high momentum environment that I've been noticing. So, yeah, it's just, it kind of is what it is. But that's the recap. So technically on the month, we are now down 288. I have an open position, which I will talk about in a future recap once I close out of that position. I have an open position. It's no longer Roku, but it's a swing trade, and that's the deal. So there's not a lot going on, man, this month. It's been pretty quiet. That maybe changes, but now we have earnings season, so it might not. That's the kind of the thought process. I think I have a couple candidates that could be fitting the criteria here soon, but nothing right now that's super pressing that I think is worth talking that we don't already know. So with that said, I will leave a link to TradeZilla below. I'm going to now go back inside of all these trades. I didn't do these ones yet as well. I'm going to go in, I'm going to log them, I'm going to tag them with my custom tags so I have my data, and so I can track that at the end of the month and have a really good video to share come November once we recap October. So far, nothing crazy, but I think that could change shortly. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. So see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.